Hey everyone, good afternoon. It's Marianne from the New York City Retirees. I've got a lot to share with you today, especially to let you know that Henry Garrido is still spreading the big lie. You know this guy. So yesterday, I'm understanding from several union leaders calling me, texting me, that Henry is saying that our bill to protect retirees' Medicare is a threat to their ability to collectively bargain. So I want to lay this all out for you, and I want to show you, if you are a union leader or an active employee, you better be paying attention. To everyone else who's watching this video, if you know someone who works for the city of New York who is in a DC 37 union, or even if they're not, but preferably if they are, we want to start showing them that Henry is spreading the big lie. These would be people that work for DOE, 911 operators, their work for museums and public libraries and in schools, and they're everywhere. Accounting offices, the zoo. So any New York City worker, active worker, should be paying attention to this. Henry wants the union leadership and union members to think that he negotiates for people who are already retired. That's the big lie. And so he keeps telling city council members that he can negotiate for current retirees. That is not true. He can only negotiate for active workers, future retiree benefits. He cannot represent any current retiree. Even there's a couple of retirees that say, like teachers, for example, well, I'm a union member. No, you're really not a union member. And I want to show you this because this is where a lot of retired teachers get hung up. While their union may allow them to vote in some an election partial vote for some officers, they are technically not in a union. Their union cannot represent them in bargaining. And this is why you have strictly different needs than active workers. Because if you were in the same union and your needs are different, then you could be pit against each other, which is exactly what's happening today, even though we're not in the union. And I want to show you this in a contract. So I'm going to bring up the first agreement. This contract here is from Office of Labor Relations, and it is for CWA Local 1180. It's important to know who a union represents and what their agreements are for. So let me make this bigger so I could see it. And so number one in the article, it says Article 1, Union Recognition and Unit Designation. Section 1, the employer recognizes the union as the sole and exclusive collective bargaining representative for the bargaining unit set forth below, consisting of employees of the employer, wherever employed, whether full-time, part-time, per annum, hourly, or per diem, in the below listed titles. Now, I don't think I even need to continue reading this because right now this proves to everyone who's watching, this union does not represent retirees. You are not an employee, you don't have an employer, and you are not currently employed in one of those titles. So this is yet another reason why unions do not represent retirees. So that is the CWA contract. Now, I want to bring you to the DC 37 agreement. Now, if you are being pit against, if you're in the same unit, you would be pit against each other. This is why you also don't have employees and supervisors in the same union. Your needs are different. And remember, when I did the labor relations videos a couple weeks ago, unions can only represent those in their units for wages, hours, and work conditions. You are a retiree. You don't have wages, hours, and work conditions. Thus, the union cannot represent you. Share this messaging to your local elected leaders, to your city council members, and any active worker and union president, because they need to know who the heck they represent, and it's definitely not a retiree. This is the DC 37 agreement from 2017 to 2021. It's the MOA, Health Savings Agreement. So number 8, Health Savings and Welfare Fund contributions. The May 5th, 2014 letter agreement regarding health savings and welfare fund contributions between the city of New York and the Municipal Labor Committee will be attached as an appendix and is deemed to be part of this 2017-2021 DC 37 MOA. DC 37 and the city agree that the DC 37 will exercise its best efforts to have the MLC adopt an agreement for health savings and welfare fund contributions over and above the May 5th, 2014 agreement. The savings shall be in the following amounts: 2019, $200 million, 2020, $300 million, 2021 and every year thereafter, $600 million recurring. The parties agree that the above savings to be achieved on a citywide basis are a material term of this agreement. And in the event that the MLC does not agree to the above savings targets, all terms and conditions of this agreement shall be renegotiated by the parties. The parties agree to form a joint labor management committee to revisit the plan design of DC 37 Med Team pursuant to the October 31, 1984 letter. So this also shows you that, like the UFT, if what this basically says is that the union, DC 37, negotiated an agreement to fund their contract by leveraging all of the unions in the city to come up with this $600 million in recurring savings, quote unquote, for the city of New York in order to fund this contract. It's just like what the UFT did in 2014. Now, what they did to retirees, current retirees, I believe was illegal, because what they did was they passed copays, increased deductibles, and tried to force you into Medicare Advantage. That should never have been done by a union. So we decided when we sued in 2021, we did 3 lawsuits. For those of you that are following, you know that we did 3 different cases. And there was a reason why, was because we knew what the city of New York was doing, and our own former unions was trying to diminish our healthcare benefits in retirement. So here you are, a loyal dues-paying member of the union. You are working for the city. You're paying your union dues. You're going to your meetings. You're doing all the things that your union tells you. You retire. You take your pension and your health care, and you sail off into the sunset. And then what happens? This guy back here decides he's going to fund his next contract by taking your health care away in retirement. Privatizing your Medicare, following the default plan in Project 2025, while blaming the Republicans or whatever, when it's really him that's doing it here in New York City. So we keep saying, and you've heard us say this around the election, why would a Democratic city with a Democratic body with all of these large unions be privatizing Medicare, putting in the default plan of Medicare Advantage, which is the default plan of that blueprint of Project 2025. Meanwhile, we're getting text messages and emails from DC 37, AFSCME International, saying, hey, give us money towards the People's Fund. We have to protect Medicare, and we have to protect unions from this Project 2025, and the president is a scary guy. Well, okay. Well, I'm sorry, you want me to be afraid of him when you are actually in the city of New York implementing that plan all on your own when it comes to your health care. And for every Democratic elected leader in the city of New York who is not protecting Medicare and not protecting retirees, well, then you are obviously doing that as well. So we want you to see the union contract so far shows you that the unions do not represent those not in their units who are retirees. Retirees are not in unions. They do not represent us. They do not collectively bargain for us. You made your deal. You retired. You don't have an employer, and you are not an employee. You don't have wages, hours, and work conditions. Hard stop right there. This agreement shows that Henry signed an agreement to leverage the healthcare benefits of all union workers, all retirees, in order to fund a contract. When our lawsuits stopped him from doing that because the judge deemed what they were doing to be illegal, he decided he was going to hang on to it. Now, you know, I'm no defender of Michael Mulgrew from the United Federation of Teachers, but he walked back from Medicare Advantage. Henry Garrido is still doing it. He is still trying to tell people this is what we have to do. Now, this past weekend, my understanding is he's telling union leaders and union members that what they have to do is interfere in our lobbying to protect our Medicare benefits by not trying to interfere in our benefits by Medicare Advantage. He enforcing Medicare Advantage. He told people, you don't have to like Medicare. You don't have to like Medicare Advantage. You don't have to take an opinion on it, like it, don't like it, but don't let them pass this bill because it interferes in collective bargaining. Well, his own lawyer, you remember that little short video we did with Alan Klinger, their own lawyer admitting that that the intro 1099 last year that was introduced by Charles Barron did not interfere with collective bargaining, and it wasn't illegal. But what it did do was that if the city had to pay for us retirees, it would be less it would give to them. And no one, I think, other than like a couple of unions, was outraged by that. And the rest of the unions were like, oh, yeah, you know, if we got to pay more, it was just, we should just take from them and it'll be all right. You know, we're giving them something anyway. They'll just be happy. No, that's not true. So I want you to understand why you are not in a union as a retired person, why you should not be relying on them, trusting them to be protecting you, because they're not. They're literally robbing retirees blind. And we've told this time again about Henry Garrido defending this, because now he has to defend what he did. So what is he saying? He's saying that the bill is illegal and that it interferes with the union's ability to collectively bargain or negotiate for their union members. Well, this is not about that. What this is about is the bill would stop Henry from stealing our healthcare benefits. It preserves what we've had for 60 years, almost 60 years, lets them build upon it, but they can't diminish it. It also stops him from passing more copays on to us. Why is that? Well, 12-126 says that the city will pay the full cost of health coverage up to the HIP HMO for every employee retiring their dependent. The HIP HMO is determined to be premium, only premium. So how are they getting around passing premium onto you? Passing on copays and deductibles. Every time there is a copay or a deductible, it is a backdoor premium. And this is how the MLC, Henry Garrido, is making money. What happened with us was they estimated by passing a $15 copay on every service on a Medicare-eligible retiree. Those are your over 65 retirees, your disabled children, your line of duty spouses, 9/11 responders, 9/11 survivors. Every copay that they pass on to you equates to about $53 million to them a year that they could use for bargaining, which is why they did this. They wanted the money. So they're saying you still have premium-free quality healthcare. And bullshit, we say, because they're passing a backdoor premium onto you. Every copay is a backdoor premium. And I want to show you when they did it again. Right here, this document shows you that in 2016, they passed on copays onto active workers. Anyone who's an active worker under 65, right? This is on the GHI CBP plan. So your emergency room copay went from $50, the new copay, to $150. If you had a surgical specialist, it went from $20 to $30. Non-surgical specialist, $15 to $30. They doubled that copay. Urgent care went from $15 to $50. Every time they do this, that is a backdoor premium to you. You are not an employee. You don't have an employer. That union doesn't represent you, and you're not in any of the titles that union has the authority under the New York City collective bargaining law or the New York State Taylor law to represent. So you are not in that union. The UFT contract, every city contract says that. You are not a member of the union. You are not. They had a duty to protect you, and they failed at that. Henry also talked about that. He said the people that are saying that the union didn't do its job, they're anti-union. No, he is anti-union for trying to take away healthcare benefits from retired unionists who are not in their unions. And as a Medicare eligible, the only thing that you got out of that welfare fund was prescription if you got one. And if you're UFT, your union basically screws you over and tells you, sorry, we're not giving you a drug plan. Go buy one for $150 a month for you and your spouse, by the way. And that's all you would get: prescription, vision, dental, maybe if your union offers a hearing or whatever, but that's it. They sold off your direct access to traditional Medicare, doctors and hospitals, and without prior authorization or narrow networks for money, and a backdoor premium at that. Next document. This is the plain language of 1096, our bill to protect our Medicare, a local law to amend the administrative code in relation to protecting the vested health insurance coverage benefits of retired employees of the city of New York. The bill would amend the administrative code to preserve healthcare choice for retirees from city service. The bill provides that the city must offer Medicare eligible city retirees, those of us that are no longer in unions and retired, and their Medicare eligible dependents at least one Medigap plan with the benefits equivalent to or better than those available to city retirees and their dependents as of December 31 of 2021. Now, why is that important? Let me explain that. On January 1st of 2022, they implemented copays. We had to go get an injunction to stop that. We want that plan that was in effect for us, that was promised to us without copays, in effect on December 31. It doesn't freeze anything. It tells the law allows that the city has to offer a supplemental plan to traditional Medicare. It has to pay for it because this is a little subsection to 12-126 where little letter E, where the city the law still says the city will pay the full cost of health coverage for every employee, retiree, and their dependent. When Henry's talking his bullshit talking point that it's not funded, it sure as hell is, because it's a little letter subset under the original administrative code that still says the city will pay the full cost of health coverage. So when you guys are making your calls to the council, this is where Henry is lying. Henry's lying through his teeth so bad, I'm surprised like his nose isn't growing even on my poster. This is why. It's not that easy when you got to lay it all out. Intro 1096 is not illegal. It doesn't interfere in collective bargaining because we're not in unions. We're not in a collective bargaining unit. Our bill doesn't interfere with them. We're already retired. We are not in a union. And it doesn't interfere in any negotiation. What it does do is it stops them from stealing our retiree healthcare benefits or retiree benefits to liquidate, to use in bargaining. That's what when he says it interferes in bargaining, it interferes in him robbing you blind. That's what he doesn't want to say, but that's the only way to say it. So it doesn't interfere with the union's ability to negotiate for its members. It interferes in Henry's ability to steal your benefits, to sell off, to diminish what you have, and further put you into managed, controlled care. There you got it. That's as short as I can make it. You are not in their unions. You are not in their bargaining units. You do not ratify contracts. You are not part of that conversation. You are on the menu. All right, guys, I'm going to end that here to try to keep this short and not go on forever, but you know the talking points. When you call the city council members, that is what you were saying, and you could show it in any one of these videos. Keep strong. Keep focused. You guys got this.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales